I believe I'll stick there. I'll use the word believe here right now. But I believe that we were taught the wrong narrative in life, in history. Okay. And with that said, if we start breaking down different things on timelines that we're now able to see and be like, hey, this happened, this happened. Hey, you know about this lake, you know what town was there before this lake was here and before that lake was here, and these were black towns and blah blah blah. And then you go into an even deeper history of it and you start talking about who these black towns were and how look, I think it was fed a false narrative. All right. So that whole we was brought over here, we was brought over here, we were slaves, and they taught us everything we know. They taught us how to farm over here and everything, and they taught us everything about this land so we can build this great country for them. And then they released us due to a civil war, and it was a fight, and we got released, and we were so ignorant and walking around, didn't even know how to. We were bumping our heads, not knowing, looking for our families, not having nowhere to go. That most of us returned to plantations and this and that, and then simultaneously, uh, right before the 1900s hit and into the 1900s, all these black towns just sprouted up all over the country, and they were just so thriving and this and that, so great that they just had to start being burnt down and drowned out and everything else that they started doing to them and destroyed them all. But black folks showed that they can be. They did all that within the time span of being released from slavery till about when it started happening in the early 1900s. So look, in 50, 60 years, black folks showed how strong they can be, but then the white folks came and destroyed it all and put lakes over it and everything else. And then we didn't make another move until the civil rights movement and we started getting freedom from the government and here we are. That shit don't make no sense. All right.
Nope.
Look, those towns and everything that was destroyed, yes, they were black towns. They didn't just sprout up in 50, 60 years. That's the shit that was here, all the sharecropping and everything that was going on, all these, even the slavery and stuff that was going on. We, 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 according to the narrative we're given, we were brought over here by some evil white folks, and then and they were just enslaving us, and this, and that. And a lot of it don't even make sense when you really start looking at it. But whatever. What happened to the people that were here? If that's the case, you're telling me all this was happening, and what happened to the people who was here during that time? Hell, during up until about what 1830s, majority of the southeast of or this side of the Mississippi, the southeast was still Indian territory. So how was all this shit happening?
Well, let me ask you this: you have to give it to whoever. I mean, I don't know whoever the organization or the people that put all this together, because they have managed. Think about it. They have managed to erase all this history from everybody's memory, white and black.
That ain't hard to do. We know exactly what they're doing, how they did it. We know exactly how it's done. We still do it till this day. We still practice the same thing till this day. The same thing. Listen, I'll take it back to when it first started happening to us. It first started happening to us when they developed the so-called what they call Indian schools. Y'all might remember that. All right. But when they started that and they started, remember, they gave those Indians a choice. Go to Take your ass to the other side of Mississippi where we got reservations that you will be able to live peaceful lives and rebuild and everything and blah blah blah. All the lies that get told. But or stay here and completely assimilate into our culture. Remember, they're the ones that set up in Philadelphia. Yeah, yeah, Philadelphia. They're the ones that set up this new government. All right. But it came from the model that they got from the Confederate Indians, I forget how to pronounce their name, the Iquis, whatever, yeah, Iois, Ouis, Iqua, Iqua. But anyway, they got it from the Confederacy that was already in place here. The whole model, even the boy Adams, in his biography, he talks about how he spent time with them and how he developed the plan that he brought to their Congress. That's why they had so many Indian representatives there in the picture. But when we look at the pictures, we just see Negroes.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's why they're there, because that's who helped them form this government, showed them how to run it, how to do it, and gave them the shit to do it. Like here. And then these motherfuckers turned around and took everything. We called the Louisiana Purchase, called the, how'd they get to Ohio? How'd they get to Ohio? Okay. Anyway,
Can I ask you a question real
I
quick?
can get so far off track just dealing with this. So I'm trying to narrow it back down.
Can I
But
ask
go
you a
ahead.
question real
Go
quick?
ahead. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right now, with everything that we're saying, right, it's terrible, right? But are we hating because we didn't do it?
No, what I'm saying is that with the right narrative and the right information, maybe we can start backtracking our way up out of this shit instead of keep falling deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into it. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And to go back to my original point is that with the Indian schools and stuff like that, remember, either if you stay here, you have to fully assimilate. And then they started the Indian schools, and it was mandatory that they had to start sending their kids to school. If they didn't, they sent the military to the houses to round up the kids and take them to these schools. Okay. Then they started going to the reservations and actually taking kids from there as well. And the reservations had to fight for the had to fight to get the government to stop coming in and taking the kids. Okay, but they kept taking the kids. Now, let's jump back to this side of Mississippi. The point is that you can stay, but you have to fully assimilate, and your kids must be educated by us. Period. And guess what? They still educate our kids till this day. They educated us. You understand? We grow up as adults with their mentality, their ideology, their education in us. Period. Their history, they're taught of everything. And we dismiss what our grandmamas and everything told us, because everybody damn near on here told your grandmama told you from here, and she told you what tribe you was from, more than likely. Quit lying if you saying it didn't happen. All right. Or you was part this or you was part that, quit lying if you say it didn't happen. All right. You learned everything else that you learned from school, and then you dismiss what your parents and everything told you. All right. But your parents are sending you to these schools. Why? Because it's the deal that we have with the American government. Why we always keep our end of the deals and treaties and everything else, but they never keep theirs. And that's why we're fucked.
Yeah.
You
Well,
see what I'm saying? And
yeah.
that's why it's time for us to take back our own education for real and take back our own, teach our own, bring back our trades in our schools, get our society back on track, get our families back on track.
Well,